Hi guys, Zach here with another Age of Empires 4 ranked video. In this game I'm playing as the English against the French, and this game was to try and get into the rank Gold 2. I was only a few points off, and in my first video when I did a ranked game I was playing against the French getting into Gold 1. It just happens to be French again, just a coincidence, but we'll see how this goes. So I'm just getting my scout obviously out first of all to get some sheep and just getting a couple of villagers mining the gold. So with the French, what you need to watch out for is those early cavalry, because the French can build knights in feudal age, which is obviously their big advantage. So I do have to watch for them because that counters the English longbow. In the last match I showed online, in the first one, we saw that person did build knights, but I built spears, and then he didn't build anything to counteract the spears, and that's how I managed to win that game. And it was quite one-sided actually, so hopefully this one will be a bit closer. The player I am playing is ranked in Gold 1 at the moment, but I think he's sort of like on the higher side of Gold 1. And just getting some of those sheep there, you can see with my scout. Just moving him around as much as possible at the start, just to try and scout as much of the map as I can, and just get as many sheep before my opponent manages to find them. So yeah, I'm probably going to go for like a similar tactic in this game, quite a lot of feudal aggression, because that's been what's working well, and just having those vills there. I'm going to go back and drop off some sheep, because you have to be careful, because if you spend too long out with your scout, what happens is you'll run out of sheep under your town centre, and then you have to build something like a mill or something, and it'll really damage your start. So thankfully I've been able to get back there, and now I'm going to go back, scout the map. I'm also going to try and go to my opponent's base and see what he's doing. Now what usually happens is my opponent, I would expect to probably build a school of cavalry, because that's a favoured landmark usually, and that means it can get knights out very, very early. It sort of counters the landmark Council Hall, which allows me to produce longbows. I could also build Abbey of Kings. I haven't really done that much though, so I'm not as comfortable with that landmark. Abbey of Kings allows you to build a king, and then you can build spears with that. I guess that would take out the knights. But I am going to go for Council Hall. What I'm going to need to do though is I'm going to need to make sure I build a barracks so I can build some spears. And I'm going to send my scout up to the enemy base. Now if it was a high level match, you'd probably never see this go Council Hall, because the knight would be able to get out very, very early and get to my base very quickly. But this is a Gold League match, so sometimes you have a bit more leeway in terms of timings. And I'm just trying to get a bit of visibility on what's going on in my opponent's base. So we should be there soon. I do need to be careful here because, oh, and that's a sheep that's not scouted, which I'm quite surprised, because it must be right next to my opponent's base. What he might have done though is he might have gone to my end of the map and done a bit of scouting there. So he might have just missed one or two sheep around his own base. And there we can see our enemy, and indeed he is building the school of cavalry, so I do need to be careful there. I'm going to send my scout back to my base and just try and go along the right side of the map and maybe pick up one or two more sheep. And you can see now I'm sending villagers to wood, because I'm going to need plenty of wood to build longbows. I'm also going to be wanting to build that barracks, and then getting some spears out as well. And also a blacksmith I'll need at some point, just to increase the efficiency of my units, make them a bit stronger with some upgrades. And now you can see my opponent has reached feudal age, so he's reached a feudal age a bit faster than I have. I'm not going to be able to attack too early on, because with that school of cavalry he'll be able to produce knights quite quickly. And at the moment I'm just rallying on villagers to wood and just getting a few things there. We can see there's our enemy scout. So what he's going to be able to do is, I know he's going to be able to have scouted my council hall, so I could expect quite an early attack, because if he thinks I'm producing longbows, he knows he has the perfect counter. So I'm going to need to look at getting a barracks out quite quickly here. I'm just taking my unit back to my base just so I can drop off these extra sheep. And now we're going to be producing our barracks, because we're going to need to produce some spears. in order to counteract any early knights that tend to come, because what the knights will do is they'll probably go for my resources that are just a little bit away from the town centre, and that's the thing that's important here is the gold. They'll probably go for that, and obviously I want to make sure I'm like right on the gold. And I'm going to be starting to build my mill, and the mill's important because I'm going to need to build wheelbarrow. It's also going to can get some early farms, because as the English you do get cheaper farms, and so you can build it earlier. Whereas if you with other civs, you might want to start like using resources outside the base, like deer patches and berries possibly. I know berries is lower in terms of food gather rate, so it's not always a great option. But especially with the French, it's going to make it easier for me, because if they've got knights out, going out to these patches outside my base could be a especially dangerous move. And I've just got my scout outside their base now so I can see what's going on. I'm also just making sure I build some houses so that I can keep on building units. And you can see me getting the spears out there. I'm also going to probably get some longbows as well, because obviously the spears will be able to protect the longbows from the knights. I just need to make sure I don't let them get too far from each other. And we'll just keep on rallying villagers out. We're starting to put village and just having a look at what the upgrades are at the moment. So yeah, you can see our longbows and spears getting out. We're also going to start adding some farms in now, because as you can see probably, those sheep are starting to fall in number, and it won't be too long before those sheep run out. And yeah, just missing that knight there. Actually, I lost a couple of villagers there. That was a bit of a silly mistake from me. A bit slow to react. And you can see that knight now running away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some units towards his base and just apply a bit of pressure. I've got that low HP villager, which I'm going to bring back and just put on a farm right next to my TC, so they are a bit safer. And for now, I'm just going to need to focus on wood and food, because that's what my units require. I need like wood and food for both spears and longbows. Whereas I think the other player will need gold for knights, but I'm not building any gold units. If I was building like men-at-arms, then it would be a little bit different. But for now, I'm just going to be building, just focusing on these two resources. And I just need to be careful, because those sheep are, as I said before, those sheep are starting to get low. So I need to make sure I'm entering plenty of farms. And just a bit of a mistake there. Population capacity reached. Got a few bit of wood there, so I'll just build that extra house. And now we're getting quite close to the enemy's like centre. We'll just have to have a little bit of a look here and see what our opponent's building, so we can see some knights. And this time the player's gone for well, not longbows, for bowman note as well. My bowmen should be like a little bit stronger because they are longbows, but they are weak against those knights, so I do have to be careful. And now we're going to fire on the enemy, and let's see what he does. He's starting to come towards us with those knights, and we're going to bring those spears forwards. And you can see him losing one of those knights. And the thing about these knights is they're quite expensive to produce, so every time he loses a knight, that's quite a lot of resources that's not going his way. And he's got another knight in there, and yeah, we're hopefully going to be able to take out... Yeah, we almost had another knight there, but we'll just pull back a little bit and we'll just get our mass up a little bit. Because we do seem to have the better, like, numbers at this point. And that council hall will produce archers at quite a good rate, because I think it's like 2 archery ranges, so you produce twice as fast. And now I'm going to send some infantry, some villagers, rally them to gold. Because I'm going to want to get some upgrades now that we're focusing a bit more on attacking the French base. I think they're going to be more preoccupied over there and going to have less time to attack, because sometimes like attack is like the best form of defense, because when you attack the player then obviously has to like the attention's diverted. And you can see though that gold mine there, the villagers have evacuated it. So it looks like they've gone elsewhere. And I'm just having a bit of a look here. And you can see he's actually gone for pro scouts. I'll be able to take out some of those scouts, hopefully, though. So we'll take out that one there. It's all resources. He's going to need to invest food to buy more scouts if he wants them. And it's also going to deny him some of those deer that he's trying to get under his TC. Because he's trying to... Usually it's pro scouts is when you play for the long game. He's also invested quite a bit in those scouts. I need to be careful here though, because I think my reinforcements have been caught off guard. But what I'm going to do is, while he's invested in taking out those reinforcements, I'm going to go for another part of his base and see if I can get some villager kills. So there's one villager down. Managing to get some kills here. Another villager I think is going to go down. So he's focusing on the front of his base. And I think I've got 3, well, yeah, I've definitely got 3 villager kills there. And it looks like we've got a 4th villager kill. So that was some good villager kills. I did lose some units though. And you can see now those... Yeah, those villagers are being idle because those sheep have run out around the town centre. So a bit of a scrappy farm position in there. I was just trying to do it quickly though, just so I can get back and see what's going on at that part of the map. I'm also going to be producing some housing just to help with the population capacity. And now you can see they're attacking this point here. And you can see I am getting sort of wiped up, but I am starting to build reinforcements back up here. So they've lost the knights, which is obviously a good thing. They do have a lot of bowmen though, so I'm going to need to be careful there. I'm going to need to get some of my own, because bowmen are very good against spears. So if you have archers against these spears, the spears don't do well. They get killed very quickly. Of course, I do need the spearmen though for the knights. So it's sort of like having that trade-off, getting that composition right. If I get enough longbows, then I will be able to take out the enemy bowmen before they're able to destroy mine. I'm just having a bit of a look, and we can see some villagers on that gold. So we're going to go for the attack there. Let's see if the enemy notices. We're starting to take out some of those villagers, and you can see his archers are coming forwards. And now he's starting to take those villagers away. So again, I've lost quite sort of like a few of those archers. And you can see that infantry coming forwards. But I'm going to sort of like have to pull back now. We've got some spears coming in behind, so I don't know if that's going to change things, because we're going to sort of need to fire on them. And yeah, they're sort of pulling it back a little bit. And it doesn't look like the numbers are too bad for myself. It looks like we're sort of getting evening up a little bit. Because obviously I did lose quite a few units earlier. But I've got this double production from my council hall. So as long as I keep producing archers there, I should be able to get back on terms. And also just make sure I keep on adding those spears in. Now, I haven't seen any knights from my opponents, so I don't know, because knights are very expensive in terms of food and gold. So I don't know whether my opponent may be thinking about going to Castle Age. I'll just need to be aware of that. And hope, like, my food economy isn't great at the moment. I do have plenty of gold though. Just having a look at that thing for men-at-arms, so because men-at-arms are quite good against... he's got a knight there. With that knight pulling back, I've also managed to destroy quite a few of the villagers from my opponents, so I don't know whether they'll be struggling economically. And now we're going back to that gold, and we can see that there's nobody on that gold, so we're okay for now. Now we're going to go for that knight, and let's see if we can take it down. It does look like it's very low HP, and it goes down. And now that I've gone further into the base and got a bit more visibility, what I can see is there's a few more knights there. So I'm going to need to make sure I do get those spears out, and I do have spears to help. And just getting some more houses out now. And what I'm going to do is also build another lumber camp so that my villagers don't have to travel as far. So yeah, I've just been focusing at the moment on getting my army, my feudal age aggression. And I can see my opponents also investing in that as well. So it is important that I just keep track of what's going on. So now we're going to go in again and just have a little bit of a further look. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to have a look at that gold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to the top gold. Because I've got quite a decent mass here, so hopefully it'll be okay to defend against anything the French throw at me. But I'm Kind of think that that gold might be the gold that he goes to, because now he's not using the one inside his base. And it does look like it's bare for the time being. So, and now we can see that his archer mass and his knights are coming out. So he's got a couple of knights, but he's got a lot of archers in the back there. But I've also got quite a few archers as well. And now a spear's coming in, and my archer's going for those knights, which are pulling right back. You can see one of those knights being taken out, and now we're going for the archer battle. We've also got a spear there, which he's had to focus on, and now it's just a knight, an archer v archer battle. And you can see that knight coming back in now that my spears have been destroyed. So I'm going to have to pull back a little bit, because obviously that knight could do a bit of damage, but you can see it's falling on HP. And now you can see another knight coming in, so I'm going to bring my other army forwards a little bit. Because, yeah, what he's trying to do, obviously, he used his archers to take out my spears, but then he brings his knights back, but then when I don't have any spears, he brings his things forwards. And what I should probably do is hold the spears behind my archers, so when he brings his knights forward, I take my spears forward. When he retreats his knights, I bring my spears back, so they're a bit safer. But that fight didn't go too badly for myself. And now what I'm doing is, I'm just doing a bit of a risky situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a forward white tower. And what that'll do is it'll make it very hard for the enemy to push out. And also the white tower allows me to build units as well, very close to my opponent's base. So that'll also give me another advantage. I'll be able to build siege and stuff just outside my opponent. So we'll have to hope our opponent's army isn't too big. Now what the white tower will do is it'll provide like quite a bit of defence. I'm just going to build another mill there just to get some more farms down. Because I'm going to need quite a lot of food in this new age, as well as wood and gold. I mean, you need everything really, I guess. But now you can see my opponent's coming in. He's going for the attack on the white tower, and he'll probably try and kill Vils here. What I'm going to do is take out those knights, and now we're going to try and take out those archers. I'm going to lose a few Vils, which is going to be a bit of a disappointment, but he will lose his whole army here. So let's see what we could do here. We're just taking out as many of those archers as possible. And you can see those archers going down quite quickly. And he doesn't have the numbers. And there my white tower goes up. So it's cost me quite a bit that. At least it was a low-level match. So I'll probably be able to hopefully bounce back from it. I've also got some villager kills on my opponent earlier on. So hopefully that'll sort of balance things out a little bit. A bit of a risky move there. Probably not one you should do like at higher levels, of course, but unless you've got like superb map control. And I might produce some men at arms now just to bulk out my force at the front. It's going to take my opponent quite a while to recover from that though, because he has lost a lot of units and he will need to think about going up to Castle Age. I'm also going to use just get some upgrades now, and now we've got this trebuchet, so I'm going to start using that just to fire on my opponent's buildings. And that white tower is going to make it very hard for my opponent to push in, because every time he tries to push in, he's going to be fired on by the white tower. Unless he's probably going to go for siege, maybe. I mean, siege can be quite effective against trebuchets, and then he can fire at distance. And I'm just having a bit of a look around, just to have a look at what my opponent's doing and where his villagers are. They must be getting gold from somewhere, so I'll need to check around probably the other side of his base. And what I'll need to think about as well is also just protecting my gold, because I've got sort of like a bit of an open back door there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start building this wood wall, and then I'll have some because I'll have a notification if they start attacking the wall, and then I'll be able to do something, yeah, just prepare a bit if there's going to be an attack, pull my villagers back, or build towers or whatever I need to do. But now at the moment, we're just trying to go full aggression at the front of the base. And obviously those trebuchets taking out his early landmark. And that's going to be like, that's his, I think it's equivalent to 2 stables, a school of cavalry. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we're managing to take it out on low HP, so obviously that's going to be causing him a bit of a distraction. You can see he's got some production buildings in the back of his base there, and this is the other gold, and now we can see that's where his villagers are. And that's why I'm sort of building a stable, so I can build some cavalry, so I can get some, because cavalry have a lot of mobility. And if we can get those cavalry to go to that gold mine, then I'll be able to get some more villager kills and also knock him off gold once again. Because that's going to make it very, very hard for my opponent. Because we can see that he has 3 main gold patches near his base. So it's just about taking them out, like covering them. Obviously, there's a gold at the front of his base. And now we can see the Scholar Cavalry has been taken out. And now we can go for another landmark. So we'll probably go for the main town centre now. Just having a bit of a look here again. Need to get some more houses down. I'm also stacking up a bit of wood and food, so I could have possibly done a bit better at this point in sort of regulating that, but into units. But you can see there's our opponent's units right in the middle of the base, and now I'm taking 2 of my, well, 3 knights through, and that's just so I can go for a raid on that gold mine. And yeah, we can see those, they've used all up their gold on that first gold mine. So, yeah, I'm just going to find out where on earth I have a villager there for some reason. I don't know if I intended that, but I'm going to build a tower there just so I can see what's going on. Obviously, towers give you great visibility, so I'll be able to see, yeah, if he's making any villager movements. And now we were going to go for that gold mine. But what we can see is he's used up all the gold there. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to have a look. And now he's going for an attack on my base. And yeah, I haven't been able to get my trebuchets back fast enough. And that's not worked well for me at all. So he's managed to sort of take those trebuchets out. And now he's pulling back. And those units are coming forwards with those mangonels. And now I've got the white tower firing as well. And he decides to pull back. So yeah, he's managed to build up his forces a little bit. And what I'll need to do is I'll need to build some counters to that, to the mangonels. But right at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm going with my knights to see if I can find any villagers on the outer gold. So just having a bit of a look at his base here and see what he's doing. I can see he's got a mill there. Just having a look if he has farms, because with the French, you do need to make a farm transition at some point. Otherwise, your units have to go on. And now we've sort of seen some gold villagers there. And now he's trying to get them away. But our knights are in the mix. And let's see what we can do here. Just trying to kill as many as possible. And just chasing them back to their town centre. And this is going to really hurt our opponents here. Because those mangonels will have cost a lot of gold. And now that those villagers are off gold, it's going to really hurt. And we can see them building a forward tower as well, just to provide a bit more defence. So the defence is getting a little bit better. I've got my knights there. I'm going to pull them back a little bit, just closer to my forces. And just, yeah, and I've been rallying to the wrong point there with my villagers from my town centre. But now that I've got 3 of these things, so I'm going to see how these do against opponent's siege. So we've got them firing, and it seems like they don't have much distance, and it doesn't seem like they do much damage either. I used to remember Spring Lords they used to be brilliant. They used to take out siege, no problem. So they've obviously been nerfed at some point, because they used to be a lot better. And they obviously try to take out my white tower now, and that's going to be really bad for me if they do, because. And now they're going to go in. You can see the archer and archer master coming in with the knights as well. And this is going to put me in a bit of trouble. You can see I'm struggling a bit against these knights. We also got these archers in as well. And those mangonels, that's bad. Because those mangonels can do really well when his units come together. So I'm just trying to pull my forces back a little bit. We are managing to take out the knights. But I need to spread out my forces a little bit. And now we've got some knights in the back door. And those knights coming in now. And we should be able to get on top of those mangonels. And you can see those mangonels, one of them going down. And we should be able to get the other one down as well. And indeed, it does. And now we can go for those trebuchets. You can see a lot of my army has been decimated a little bit. We'll go for those trebuchets. And we're going to go for those villager kills. And my opponent has tapped out. So those cavalry being in the back being able to go for those mangonels really helped me in that fight and managed to pave my path to victory. So a lot closer than my other game. My Gold 1 game was a bit easy in the end, but this one was a little bit harder. I obviously got the upper hand early on with the map control, and I started looking at his different gold mines. And when we started hitting him off gold, I think for the second off that gold mine right at the end with the cavalry, I think that really hurt him. And then he went for an all-out attack. Now, it didn't look like it was going to be too bad for him. He was doing quite well at the start. He had the mangonels as well, which got off some good shots, because my infantry units were clumped together. But then we were able to pull it through with those cavalry. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.